Okay, are we recording once more? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 8:25, and the council has come back into open session for this special meeting of the Town Council of Forest Heights for September 3rd, 2024. So the time of the closed session, which was closed under the general provisions of Article subsection 3-305, it was closed at 5:43. The town hall at 5508 Arapahoe Drive in Forest Heights, Maryland was the location. The purpose was to discuss the appointment of a permanent town administrator and conduct interviews. The members who voted to go into closed session were myself, Mayor Lilly, Council Member Brownson, Council Member Hines, Council Member Little, Council Member Noble, Council President McDonald, and Council Member Kennedy. The persons attending the closed session were myself, Mayor Lilly, Council President McDonald, Council Member Noble, Council Member Little, Council Member Kennedy, Council Member Hines, Council Member Brownson, the attorney, Mr. Kevin Best, interim town administrator, John O'Connor, Mr. Robert Thompson, and Mr. David Deutsch. This was done under the authority of subsection 3-305 for closed sessions to discuss reason number one, the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, and any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Topics that were actually discussed was the interview and appointment of a permanent town administrator, and the actions that were taken were none. At this time, we will resume our agenda for this evening. My apologies. Just an additional note, we came out of closed session at 8:26. Thank you, Councilmember Hines. Okay, next we will have the minutes. I move that we approve the minutes for July 2024.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes for July 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Councilmember Brownson.
I have a question. I wasn't at the meeting, but I have a question about the minutes themselves. It just says, there's no discussion or anything on the minute notes. So, and that's been in the past. So I just want to say that just looking at the minutes and not being at the meeting as a spectator, it doesn't show any discussion, any, back and forth. And it's been like that for a while. And I think for me, if I were a resident, and I am, I would like to see what happened in the meeting other than motion passed, who voted, just the discussions that took place in the meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Mr. Best, do the minutes as transcribed meet the requirement for meeting minutes?
No, Mr. Mayor, the state law requires that minutes reflect what is done, not necessarily what is debated or said. That's a matter of personal preference for the local governing body, how much detail those minutes will be. But suffice to say, minutes are sufficient if they state, what the motion was and what the vote was, what the action was taken on a particular item, not all the detail on what is said.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Councilmember Brownson, I would add that for more in-depth analysis of the discussion back and forth, the video and audio recording are available. But if there's some detail that you might like to suggest to see if council was wanting to include in the future, we can discuss that in the future. Or in new business this evening.
Right. But what I'm saying is that if I'm looking at this, I don't know what was discussed.
Well, thank you for sharing that, council member. Do you object to the passage of the minutes?
Yes.
Mr. Best, can we still move forward with adopting the minutes, or do we need to move to another course of action?
Well, since this is an agenda item, a motion, if there's no motion and no second, it'll fail, but
We had a motion in a second. Councilmember Hines seconded.
well, we don't know what the druthers are of the rest of the body.
Okay, so we'll hear the voice vote at this time. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. President O'Donnell, okay. Councilmember Kennedy,
Aye.
are there any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, we have 6 yeas and 1 opposed. Motion carries. Okay, we don't have a consent agenda for tonight, so next we'll move to the main agenda. I move that we adopt tonight's main agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's main agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, we have 6 yeas and 1 nay. The motion is adopted and agenda is approved. Next, we will have the first public period for comments this evening. And during public period, we ask the speakers to state their name and address. All speakers are given 2 minutes to address the mayor and council. Answers to the question may be presented tonight or maybe at a later date to the appropriate department head or official. Is there anyone in the audience tonight who wishes to speak during public period? Is there anyone online who wishes to speak during public period at this time? Mr. Hines, if please you would come forward to the mic and state your name and address once you get here. Thanks for being here this evening. Good evening. Oh, if you could state your name and address for those who are at home. Yes, thank you. Say that once more, sir.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can now. Yes, we
My
can.
dog
Yes, sir.
and I can't get enough of you. Okay, I was saying that the building.
We need you to state your name and address because you were on mute before. My apologies.
My apologies, you just told me that.
That's okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
I was saying that the building really looks, Quincy Hines. You know, it's repetition for my head. My head always. Quincy Hines, 141 Onondaga Drive, Forest Heights, Ward 3, the best ward in the town.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and give your comments tonight, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
no, I was saying that the building really looks good. And I wanted to make a comment on that, and those pictures there, it does something different. You know, that when you go to places, because I always look around, I look at everything. Sometimes I go and just study people, I just look at. Anyway, another thing is, I went through your charter and I didn't see anything spelled out. Maybe it's there, maybe I missed it. As you know, like on your last journey when you leave here, anybody who was on the council, served on the council, or ex-mayor or somebody, if this space was available to their family, it'd be one less thing they would have to worry about. So I don't know if it's in there. I could have missed it. Does anybody know?
Could
Is
you
it
restate
written
the
in the
question?
charter that that's one of your rights for being a council person?
Are you speaking for a specific type of event?
Yeah. Your last journey home.
Oh, for a memorial or a funeral
Yeah,
service?
anything like that, yeah.
Well, I don't believe it's in the charter, but we will take your question and
Okay, well, would y'all please consider that? And I thank you for your time. And I apologize for the confusion, but I'm new at this.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Thank you, Mr. Hines.
I missed the question.
The question from Mr. Hines was, could the council consider allowing past council members or mayors to use the community room for a repast or a memorial in the event that someone passes? Their family, a family member or they, I guess. Is it for them? Is that correct, Mr. Hines? That's okay. I think we got the gist of it. You got the gist of it, Councilmember Kennedy?
Yeah, I think he if I'm reading into it correctly, he wants it to be how it was. It wasn't just the elected body, but I believe all the employees were able to have the hall one day for free.
Oh, I don't think he was referring to staff. I think he was referring specifically to elected bodies and past elected officials after they leave office. Well, Mr. Hines, we will consider your comment. Thanks for providing comment tonight and for being a longtime resident of Forest Heights. Thank you. Next, we'll move to a special part of tonight's agenda. I'd like to call forward Chief Anthony Reese. And I would also like to invite any council member who wants to come down as well. This is going to be a special recognition for Chief Reese tonight on behalf. No, it's not Chief Reese's last day. We're saying a thank you to him for the time that he spent as interim town administrator and police chief simultaneously.
I mean, there's a certain point or years or.
I'm there in spirit, Chief.
So to the members of the community who may not be aware and those who are, let's turn this around. So Chief Anthony Reese served as interim town administrator and chief of police for a period of 7.5 months, 7.5 long months, serving the town both as a public safety leader and helping our day-to-day administrative tasks as we searched for the right leader to run the town day to day. And that's an incredible sacrifice. If you watch the news, if you read just what goes on in Forest Heights and surrounding here, we have a police staff that monitors our residential streets, and they also serve in the community, and they serve under Chief Reese's leadership. So to do both of those roles at the level that you did, we want to say thank you to you. We want to say thank you to your family for understanding and being flexible, and hopefully, if families listening, forgiving for some of the time you may have missed with your family. You've also remained here with us since returning to solely serve as a police chief. And we just want to say that we can't repay you, but we can say thank you and let you know how much we appreciate what you did. And we hope that you continue to serve the town well. And we wish you the best both here and going forward. You like to say anything?
Appreciate it. Thank you. It's a good gesture. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Nice to be noticed. Let's take a picture.
Let's take a picture. Yeah, but any other council member want to say anything? Open it up to council member.
I'd like to thank the chief for all of that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, get to the mic. I would like to thank the chief and all of his dedicated service to the town of Forest Heights. I remember when he was a young man, and now he's a younger man. So he's going to be with us, I know, for a long time. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
I really appreciate everyone. I do want to say that I've learned a lot here, and I really appreciate everybody pouring into me. Everybody who I come in contact with, I take something from them and I learn from it, and I want to use it as I do my job throughout the day. Thank you.
All right, let's take a picture. Those who would like to be in it.
You know, you taking it? How we doing?
Let's,
You go next to me.
You come a long way, Chief.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you guys.
I remember when you came out the academy.
I'm trying to get back to that weight.
Thank you and the entire police department, actually all our employees for everything y'all do, but thanks again, Chief.
I do more than one, okay, Paula.
Thank you. Okay, sure. Okay, I just wanted to, I know. Okay, give me.
let's give Chief Reese another round of applause.
Thank you, Chief Reese.
Helping to move Forest Heights forward. At this time, we will move into departmental reports. And first, we'll begin with the interim town administrator's report. Are there any questions for the interim town administrator's report? And Mr. O'Connor, do you have any specific points that are highlights that are brief that we need to pay attention to?
There's nothing specific that I would point out in the overall reports and attachments.
Councilmember Brownson.
Yeah, I have a question. I don't remember, I remember us passing the resolution to make your interim town administrator. And, but I don't remember a resolution with the hours that he was gonna do project manager and town administrator and the dollar amount and all that stuff like that. Did we ever pass that resolution and sign it?
Well, as interim town administrator, that's the only role he can officially do and be compensated for.
He can't be offered a project manager?
No,
Why?
because the only person that can hold more than one role in the town and be compensated for it is the police chief. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But
Thank
did we sign a resolution for that, for him to be interim town?
Yes, we did. We did an omnibus resolution on the night of
All three of them.
May 1st, I believe, or
Okay.
May 2nd for
Okay.
all three.
Okay. The 90 days?
Did we set a timeline? It was indefinitely until approved, or was it there a timeline indefinitely?
There was not a specific timeline. It was till the position is filled, I believe.
Okay. Council President McDonald.
I just wanted to comment on the welcome package and streamlining it and making it way more palatable than the thousands of paper I guess we have in the full package. So thank you for that.
Thank you. We are soliciting any feedback on that as well, so it can become a more comprehensive look.
Councilmember Noble.
Yes, the welcome package, and we talked about this some time ago before your time here, I think, but to engage some of these real estate agents that are putting signs up, and how do we let them know their buyers are coming into a municipality? So that may be a way that we can, going forward, kind of monitor the real estate agent that's in the town. And I think District Heights has a model where the agents have to register with their city and they pay a permit fee or something. Because when people get here with their mortgages, and then they find out you have these ordinances and we're trying to you know, cite them and they had no knowledge of. So it's just more information is better than less. Thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a process for us to examine about how to deliver the welcome packet to new homeowners when they close a transaction, and specifically people who buy and they rent the home out. So if they file for a permit, then we know that they're renting the house out. But if they don't, we just have to look at signs.
Well, one of the ways, Mayor, I could do is just bring the welcome packets to the Southern Maryland Realtors Association. And they cover the southern portion of Prince George's County, Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's County as far as geographics are concerned. So we'd be covered by them, and we can get the packets to them and some information there about our jurisdiction, as well as the Prince George's County Realtors Association.
Okay. Any other questions for this report?
Yeah,
Councilmember Brownson.
with the welcome package, and you had proposed maybe putting it on a USB port and giving it to the new residents. Did we decide on that? Because I know a lot of residents probably won't have a printer or can't read all that material. And I know you streamlined the package, but is there a way that we can have hard copies of welcome packages so we can distribute to the residents and in different languages?
Yes, so the welcome packet's currently in English and Spanish and or the welcome brochure. And this is a draft format that is in the packet. So if anybody wants more information, they can request the USB and they can get everything.
Okay,
But for now, the hard copies you're requesting, that's what this draft is trying to fix.
okay. So we will have hard copies.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson and Mr. O'Connor, Councilmember Noble. At this time, if there is no further comment, we will. Councilmember Hines.
The interim town administrator, the building, as far as, your vision, some of the things that's going on in the building, wouldn't that be, doesn't the council get to hear about it beforehand, transparency?
So when we're doing the projects on the day-to-day, like the pictures or anything else, that comes from the mayor. So when we're doing the projects, we try to communicate or even the mold, but we could do more updates, more frequent updates if you want.
Well, to be specific, I'm understanding that the police department isn't going to get that plexiglass area anymore. And I'm trying to figure out who made that call, because, they were the first line of defense. And I felt protected, when they came in, and for them not to get that and for them to have to come upstairs, I'd just like to know who made that call.
So the building layout was came from the mayor with the offices being assigned. I went through and came with the plan and presented it to the mayor. So that's how it laid out from there. The police department wasn't a consideration then because they weren't supposed to be here except for unforeseen circumstances. So I don't think that was a consideration at the time. But the clerk is downstairs and the police department will be on the other side where the plexiglass is. But we don't have enough space to occupy that whole side with the police department because then we would lose space for other staff at the same time. So it's not functional that way.
I just wanted to understand on the plexiglass, which area was it that you were saying it's not going to be there anymore?
Police department. Where they were before they left. And, as you walk in on the left-hand side, the whole, that part.
Well, is that being removed?
No, it's
No.
not. No, it's.
Mr. Mayor, I think the question is, why isn't the police department, why aren't we relocating staff that's there for the police department to reoccupy that space?
That's pretty much my question. Yeah, that would be it.
Why are we relocating police officers back in the same area? Oh, okay. Yeah,
No, why don't we? And then if it's space, and I'm gonna
Just one
piggyback
moment,
on-
Councilmember Kennedy, just one moment. So you're suggesting we move them back behind plexiglass?
Yes.
Okay.
For, you know, as I said, I felt protected when I walked in and I saw the police right there. It was, you know, it just was fitting. And I thought that, you know, was a little bit bigger space than what you're giving them right up here. Really?
Well, to answer that, or just to give some context to it, the changes in the floor plan were made before we knew that we were going to have to move police officers back in. And so it's not made to reduce anyone's safety. And I think as we're in a situation where the space that they were in, they had to vacate immediately, that wasn't something that we anticipated. So this is not in any way to show disrespect to officers or to make them less safe. We're trying to work with Chief Reese and with the resources and the space that we have to find a place where we can house everyone safely. So it's not done in any way to make anyone less safe. But thank you for raising the concern. And as we develop a full plan, a long scale plan, we'll try to put everyone in the most optimal place. But we can't make promises that everything can be the way that it was because, you know, we are in a situation where it's emergent and we need to have people have somewhere to do their work or at least to check in and continue continuity of services. So it's emerging, which means it could change. It may not. We hope that we can find something that we all agree to, but we are doing the best that we can for right now. And thank you for raising the comment, Councilmember. Chief Reese, did you have anything to add? Okay. Councilmember Kennedy?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Councilwoman Hines on that. I think the communication was a little lacking across the board. We found out after the fact that it was renovated. You know, if you're you know, if everybody's saying that we don't have money for annual functions or things, you know, that the residents may like, but then we turn around and spend Lord knows how much on renovating the building, that doesn't have a good look. And on top of that, now question, did we find out that the police department had to come back before or after it was renovated?
This was after the notification. When did the notification for the vacancy in that space come?
Less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the notification came approximately 2 weeks ago. Councilmember Kennedy.
Okay. I think we can utilize some of the space a little bit better. You know, don't take it the wrong way, but if we have a shortage of space, I don't think it would be advisable to use what used to be where the town administrator sat as a lounge.
Oh, no, not at all. Point taken. Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Council President McDonald.
I guess overall, Mr. O'Connor, could you just share briefly what is the return on investment with what has been done in terms of these upgrades and the enhancements to the building?
Sure. So briefly, one of the big things that was removed was the proliferation of black mold throughout the building. One area had to have a specialist come in and actually remove it because it was so hard caked. The security on the doors were fixed related to the IT room. We actually gained more space in the back area where DPW and the DPW director and Mr. Watkins can share an office. Additionally, the room up here was supposed to be a community room or a room for the council or where other things could be done, like a conference room. But unfortunately, you know, due to events, circumstances, it had to be switched over to provide for the police department. We were able to accommodate the copier machine and maximize our space. Ultimately, there was rooms that weren't there before. We were able to create the archive room for all the records keeping, which is huge because the records, of course, we've had plenty of issues related to that. So now all the records are consolidated into a secure room. Same thing with the carpet, health-wise, the carpet was plenty of years old, had mold, dust, and the asbestos tiles were covered up that were on the floor. So we were able to maximize all the space that was used. Additionally, for sustainable MML, we were able to set up the public Wi-Fi network, which is one of the requirements for sustainable MML. We also were able to save $12,000 on internet costs because we were able to run that down and get everything switched over to iNet versus having two separate providers. We saved money on that. And then the network by staff was rerun, which it was definitely in need of an upgrade. So we were able to fix that. There's several more things, but I keep it very brief. Oh, the community station that's out there was another thing for sustainable MML, access to internet, the computer, the ability to look up any ordinances and codes and enter work orders when they come in the building for customer service.
So follow up, Mayor Lilly.
Yes, Council President McDonald.
Thank you. So thank you, Mr. O'Connor, because to me, if we're talking about spending money and trying to, I guess, have a return on investment in being able to provide a service to the residents, that seems to be beneficial, more beneficial. I guess a question would be in terms of the allocations or where the spending came from in terms of all of the enhancements. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Councilmember Noble.
Just to keep in line with the building is nice, beautiful, but majority of our residents, they don't come over to this building. So therefore, what they need to see is within the town. So we're going to have to figure out how to make it visual, create a visual something that people can see what you're doing, not just so much in the building, because we have residents who don't come out of their homes. So we have to really create that sense of community. And that's just my greatest concern, that the building is nice and the building is nice for the employees, some of the residents that come and use it, but residents need to see, the trash getting picked up. Those are the things they're looking for. So I appreciate all that's done in this lovely building. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, council members. Thank you for your responses.
So just one last thing.
Councilmember Kennedy, you
And
want to
if-
say something else?
If you don't mind.
Okay.
So if you go back, just like this time and most of the times before, it boils down to communication. If a resident come up and say, hey, the building looks nice, when did y'all do that? But we didn't even know it got done. It makes us collectively look stupid. So communication starts with you and it trickles down. So I would like better communication of what's going on, that we're about to do this, whether we are about to do it or we're not going to do it. But we need better communication.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. All right, next we're going to move to the Police Department report for this month. Chief, do you have any highlights before we take questions?
No specific highlights, sir. I'm welcome any questions.
Thank you, Chief Reese. Are there any questions for the police report for this month? Councilmember Brownson?
I think it's for the report. I just want to get some clarification. We had an incident, I think it was August 20th, maybe, down at the park, Bell Acres Park, where a child got stuck in a swing, and the residents were panicking, and they called 911, and the fire department came, and they had to cut the child out of the swing, and it was it was a lot. But the resident was saying, "Where's Forest Heights? Where's Forest Heights? Why no one is here from Forest Heights?" So I know you all can't be everywhere all the time, and the park is part of the county or the state police or whoever. But my question is that when an incident happens in the town and it involves something like that, which is kind of tragic, what does Forest Heights, how does Forest Heights Police handle that?
So the first thing is, coincidentally, is the communication. We would not know because obviously that is Maryland National Capital Park Police. We don't share a radio channel with them. They have their own silo radio channel, and they communicate with Prince George's Fire by themselves. So they would literally have to call us and for us to even find out. So normally, and it's just all in, it's really all in on what address is used, for the incident itself. So they may not use they might have just said Bell Acres Park. And when they say that, it's not going to trigger anything for Forest Heights to get notified for anything. Which we would like to kind of bridge the gap, or so we did hear about it after the fact. We're glad that the child was okay. But we were not notified during that time that the incident happened.
So with our parks, we got 2 parks in the county that's run by the county or the state?
The National Capital Park and Planning.
Okay, now, so is there a way that, I mean, because it's in our jurisdiction, so don't you think there needs to be some type of communication?
So it is hard. It's one of those things that because basically they are and that's not the only 2, like with the annexation and everything, we have Oxon Hill Manor like that over there. It falls in the same category. It's just not, we're not the primary jurisdiction. And they're not going to notify us. They're not. Now, of course, if it's something different, if we come across something. So if we're patrolling and we see something, we get on the radio, our dispatcher will notify National Capital because they are the primary. We're the secondary. But if they needed some assistance, then they would ask us after that. But at that time, they probably didn't need any. So it's just it's hard to explain, but it's police jurisdiction things and how people are notified. But I'm not going to bore you with that.
Oh, thank you, Councilmember Bronson, for bringing this point up. I wasn't aware of the fact that what Chief said, since the park is controlled by Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, we know that, but I wasn't aware of the impact of what happens when someone has an incident at the park. Council President McDonald?
Yes, Chief Reese. I had a question about the abandoned building on Comanche Drive, and should that be listed on here as an ongoing issue?
So right now it's actually we boarded it up. It's closed. It's going through something with probate. So right now we're just waiting for the court to do what they're going to do with it. Right now, as a town, we have exhausted everything that we've done. As far as one of the main issues was cutting the grass. We did that. We boarded it up. Obviously, I think about a month and a half ago, we did have a police incident where people were going in there and using it for their drug use. But right now, we're closing it until we raise another issue. Now we are monitoring. The code enforcement did send out the notifications that it was if anything else happens, they will be properly notified. But right now, it's in limbo. We don't know who owns it. We don't know the past owner that's listed on record has passed away, and the bank, we're waiting for the bank to do what they're going to do. But we're in limbo, but we are monitoring it, ma'am, to answer your question.
Okay, and then also the one on Ottawa 5914, it's a property maintenance issue as well.
Yes, so that, to not dive into details, that has been, now what my suggestion now, Ottawa, I believe that we should probably bring that back. A couple of years ago, we were going to bring it to the council to, for Attorney Best to use our authority, because it's been like that so long. I think that's one of the things that we may need to do, to bring it back. It was presented to the council before. I think we should bring it back, to present it to you all for next steps.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Are there any further questions for the police report for this month? All right, hearing none, we'll move to the next item. Next, we will have the treasurer's report. Mr. Frankenfield, do you have any highlights for the report?
Hi, good evening, council members. No highlights, but happy to answer any questions.
Well, this is not in the report, obviously, but I'll just ask if you can give an update on the audit.
Yes, we're currently wrapping up fiscal year 22's audit. Last communication we had with the town's auditor was we were getting a draft of the financials for fiscal year 22 with all the required statements and footnotes tomorrow morning. After we receive that draft, we reconcile it, we review it, we comment on it. So as far as a timeline, I feel like we can honor our commitment to the state to provide them with the finalized audit and UFR probably 7 to 10 days from now.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Are there any questions for the treasurer's report for this month? First
Just
up,
to follow up with the question you just asked.
yes, Councilmember Kennedy, just one moment. So you wanted to provide comment based on the audit? Let me go to Councilmember Noble, and then I'll come to Councilmember Brownson, and I'll come to you, sir.
I just had a question about the findings from the last audit that was submitted, the recommendations. So have we implemented those recommendations, or have we responded to the recommendations?
So when the 21 audit was in draft, we responded to the recommendations. There's still one other piece of their recommendations, which is change our accounting policies and procedures so that we capitalize assets over $5,000. I think we need to do it via legislation. So that's one thing that's pending. It just means that every laptop the town buys, we don't put on the fixed asset list. Every desk the town buys, we don't put on the fixed asset list. As of now, the threshold is $500, so we're capturing more than we need to. So it's a nice to have, but not a necessity. The majority of the other recommendations we didn't agree with, and we said, hey, we're not a county government, so the expectation of what you're asking us to do doesn't fit with the capacity that we have at the town. So yes, I feel like we've responded to all of them and implemented all their recommendations but one.
And do you expect a response back from them, or that just concludes it for FY21?
Yep, it's the way it works is they say their piece in writing, we respond to it in writing, and then that's all incorporated in the final audit package for 21. So it's done at this point.
Thank you.
Sure.
Councilmember Brownson, then I'll go to Councilmember Kennedy.
Yeah, my question was, with the reports that you, do we have to request reports from you if we want report, or do you automatically just do the report and put them in board docs, and then the town administrator send out a note saying that they're there and we can find them there? So can we request reports from you?
Yeah, so Mayor, do you want to respond to that part? I think we agreed on our reporting schedules and cadence, which yes, are going to go from me to the town manager to board docs for the council and the public. Would you respond on the special request, Mayor?
Yes. So for reports, they'll go to the town administrator and get posted on board docs, right? If you have a request for a report that's not normally generated and it is outside of what's normally provided and can't be responded to, it requires new work or different scope, that request will need to come through the mayor and the town administrator just for visibility. And then the directive will come from myself to the treasurer to produce the report.
Okay, so I requested some documents, and yeah, the town administrator said, no, the town treasurer said that he had to send the request to the town administrator and the mayor for visibility, transparency. So I'm trying to figure out why, if I request something, it has to go to the mayor and the town administrator for transparency.
Well, it's just because the charter says that for directing employees to do work or to do to give directives has to come from mayor, and that the council has to communicate for things that they want outside of a inquiry, they can just be responded to with a yes or no, or with outstanding information.
Inquiry.
No, a request for a report would be, does a report exist? Or do you, a request for an inquiry would be, an inquiry would be, does a report exist? Did you produce a report, or do you have a number from a report? But to generate a report that's different, that wasn't already sent out is different.
So you're saying that anything we request from the town treasurer, public works, or the town administrator needs to come through you?
Yes. If you're asking a question about what Public Works is doing, you can ask a question, they can respond. But if it's going to be asking them to do something or to implement something or to expand the scope of what they're doing, that request needs to come through the mayor.
So I asked for a voter registration sign.
Yes.
And I asked Mr. Dewell for it, which he never provided. That's why he didn't provide it, because it didn't come through you?
I'm not saying that, but this is a good example of why.
It's a good example.
It's a good example of why the charter says that the directive comes from the mayor to do it. So it's for visibility. So it's for visibility. So for me to see what you're asking for, and also for us to help hold staff accountable for things that they're supposed to
think you're
to give.
interpreting the charter incorrectly, and I'm asking the attorney about the
Thank
section
you.
that you use, because why?
One moment, Councilmember Brownson. One moment. No, let me finish.
No, you gave me a permission to.
Let me
speak.
finish.
No, but you gave me permission. to
Yes,
speak.
and now,
So- and I have-
now I'm asking you to to pause for a moment.
No, I'll ask you to pause so I can finish my sentence.
Councilmember Brownson, I will give you the floor in just a moment when I finish speaking, okay?
Well, why can't I finish and then you take the floor? Because you recognize me.
You
right?
asked the question,
Right, but you recognize.
and then
me to
you finished and I
speak.
started to
But
respond.
do you recognize me to speak?
Councilmember Brownson,
You're not recognizing me to speak.
I'm going to give you the floor in just a moment, okay? Thank you. So, Councilmember Brownson,
So you can talk.
I'm
but you're not-
regaining order of the meeting. So at this point, I'm going to finish speaking, and I will give the floor to you.
No, thank you.
So the charter states that directives come from the mayor to staff members. And in this instance that you provided, the request for items and for Public Works to provide something needs to come through the mayor. And when the staff member is directed to do so, if they are directed to do so, they need to be accountable to what they ask for. Thank you for your question, council member. Mr. Best, could you refer to the place in the charter where it outlines that directives to staff from council outside of an inquiry have to come through the mayor's office?
want me to be able to cite the section and subsection?
Yes, sir. This would be subsection 33-66, I believe.
Yeah, there. Well, first of all, we all know that the mayor is the chief executive officer. And we know that we have a mayor and council, a governing body made up of legislators. As an elected council person, you are a legislator. That's the only hat you wear. There's other towns where members of the governing body wear both the executive hat and the legislative hat. But in this town, if you're a council member, you wear a legislative hat. And your town is somewhat unique. You have a number of provisions, and it's the one the mayor reminded me of. It was put in the last subsection of the section on the town administrator, section 3366. And it's the second to the last subsection, subsection G, and it reads, except for purposes of inquiry only in cases regarding emergency procurements governed by the ordinance or where specifically authorized in writing by the mayor or by resolution of the council, individual members of council other than the mayor shall interact or conduct business with all officers and employees of the town that are subordinate to the mayor solely through the mayor, and no members of the council apart from the mayor shall give orders or issue commands to any subordinate of the mayor, either publicly or privately. And so that's the main subsection. And what that does, it recognizes the fact that you have kind of an executive branch of your municipal government made up of the mayor, the town administrator, and all the employees, and the employees also have department heads. And it recognizes the fact that the implementing policy made by the council is the realm of the staff under the mayor, and that as elected officials, other than the mayor, because the mayor is both a member of the council and is an executive officer, those of you that are elected and serve on the council are legislators.
Thank you, Mr. Best.
You don't give orders typically, and that's what this recognizes. And there's also a provision.
Thank you, sir. Just one moment. I just wanted to add that I had Mr. Best read this, but it is just to share what the charter says. This is not to shut down any requests that council members have. It's simply to allow for the mayor and for the town administrator to understand what requests are being made to staff so that they can have priority of staff effort, and also so that we can have transparency when something is asked for. Staff needs to provide it. We need to know what the timeline is that they've promised it. When they don't, or if they're not able to do that, we need to be able to communicate and update the council so that expectations are managed.
Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a structured municipal government class unless you want me to. But
No, thank you,
this is
sir.
one of the relevant that's the most relevant charter provision. There are other provisions that deal with this matter as well.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Noble.
I think just going forward, and I think Councilman Kennedy said it best about communication. It's a process, and I guess the way that this body has acted for so long, that legislators were doing other things other than legislating, right? So when things change or when something new comes about, then people need to know this is the order. It's not that anyone was doing something wrong, but this is the way that it should be. So this is a government body, and that's how it should act or perform as, according to our charter. Thank you.
Agreed, Councilmember Noble, and I would take the point that there is some education and learning happening for all of us about how we fulfill our roles. And I want to make sure that requests that come from council get responded to and answered in a reasonable amount of time. And then also that the request is reasonable and that it falls in the correct priority based on other things that staff members are doing around the community in their day-to-day. So with that being said, are there any other questions related to the treasurer's report for this month?
Okay, are you ignoring me?
Councilmember Kennedy, my apologies. I had you third in order and I forgot. My apologies.
Man,
Please go, sir.
I was about to pop some popcorn over here. So basically just a little more insight on it. What used to happen in the past is, let's say a head of a department told one of their subordinates to go do something. Then the mayor comes by and tells them to do something. Then the council person comes by and tells them to do something. So they just got 3 orders, so they don't have a clue which one to follow. So I think that's why that originally got changed, but, keep in mind, even MML will tell you not to go into detail, keep it a little vague, so there is some wiggle room. But, if, somebody comes in and decide they want to be a dictator, then guess what? Like Kevin said, we're legislators. We can easily change whatever is being used incorrectly if that's what we so choose, but, we all have to do our part. And like Councilwoman Noble said, in the past, you had elected officials that did a hell of a lot more than just legislate because we didn't have the manpower. So we all chipped in. We were like a big family, dysfunctional sometimes, but hey, we chipped in and got whatever needed to be done.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy, for your comments. Anyone else wish to speak or have questions about the treasurer's report at this time? All right, hearing none, we will move to the next report. Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield.
I'm sorry, forgive me.
Council President McDonald, would you,
Mayor Lilly,
you want to add
forgive
something?
me. I was paused in my in my asking of the question of the
No
treasurer.
problem.
So I know that there was a report that needed to, I guess, the first cycle of the budget report, Mr. Frankenfeld, and in October we're going to have our finance committee meeting. So will you have the full report available for review at that meeting?
Yes, I think we planned for, so we need 30 days after the end of the month. So I think I've lost track of the cadence of the finance committee meeting, but I think as long as it's third or fourth Saturday,
Yep,
then I
it
think we'll
is.
have all of, yeah, then we're on track. That's great.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Next, we'll move to the Public Works report for this month. And Mr. Belnavis, are there any highlights from your report? If not, we'll move to questions.
Nothing further to report.
Are there any questions for the Public Works report for this month?
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Mr. Belnavis, can you enlighten everyone about the status of the public work vehicles?
Yes, sir. The truck 550, F550 has blown a master cylinder, and the gas line, the line is failed. So it's now at Fleet being repaired. Not sure of the status at this time regarding that truck.
So do they believe it may be fixable?
I'm not sure. I have not heard anything regarding that truck at this time. Fleet has not come back with a report as to what they can do with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Are there any other questions for the Public Works report for this month? I would ask between Mr. Belnavis and Mr. O'Connor if you could give a brief update about where we are with the ADI assessment, the Assess, Decide, Inform assessment on schedules for maintenance activities for public works around the town.
So we're on the inform portion. The town website is going to be undergoing an overhaul hopefully soon, which will be more up to date, and we'll be able to sync our calendar directly to that. So it'll be visible to the public, as well as stationary days that can go out in the newsletter. Which for like mowing and other things that DPW does. So we're at the phase right now where we can start informing on the schedule now that we've assessed the entire situation.
Okay, and by sharing on the website, you mean that the scheduled days that regular activities are going to happen will be synced to a schedule where you can see it online as
Yes.
in addition to the newsletter if you're a resident.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to the next portion of our agenda No. We'll move to the next portion of our agenda this evening. We'll next have the second public period. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during public period at this time, either online or in the auditorium? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the next item on our agenda. Department heads are excused. Next, we'll move to legislation. And the first item under legislation this evening is Resolution 63-24. And this is a resolution to approve the award of a contract to Calvert Contracting LLC, Calvert, and RTI Landscaping for necessary emergency repair work near Cree Drive and Tecumseh Drives associated with the project to address a priority mudslide prevention project. And this item is, actually, I want to move this into discussion. Give me just one moment. Is the vote requested on this item for tonight?
Yes, all three resolutions are requesting a vote. They're all time sensitive.
So on this particular one, I move that we need to discuss this one. So I move that we
Would, Mayor, do you want to move it? Do you want to just have discussion tonight, or do you want to have discussion other than this, other than at this meeting?
I think we could move this, honestly. But we can discuss it tonight. So I just want to move the consideration for vote to the next meeting.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to take any action tonight. If you want to discuss it, you could move it. We are up against the window because of the weather with a lot of the work that needs to be done. But
No, that's okay. Yeah. So we'll discuss this. We won't be voting on this tonight. Discussion for resolution 63-24. Councilmember Noble.
I have two questions. One, are we not doing any bidding processes anymore, or that's number one? Number two, this is for Cree/Tecumseh, right? So I'm trying to see in relation to the mudslide, because Tecumseh is
Behind.
over to the side it's Onondaga that's behind Free, and Tecumseh is over there by Satcham. So I'm trying to see where the cross is for this project.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. So there's two questions in that one. And actually the first one is why I think we need to move this. In a prior meeting, there was discussion about other vendors being able to bid on this project. So did other vendors have a chance to bid on this? Because if not, it was the majority of the council discussion from what I remember that we wanted to see it bid, even though we had a contractor that was familiar with the project, we wanted to have it bid for competitive reasons. And to the second point, did you get a chance to tour the site with Mr. O'Connor? Okay.
So, two things, Mayor, the portion on bidding was for the, engineering, the second portion of this, particular, award. The first part, it was explained that the bidding would take at least 6 months to bid this out appropriately. And we're not in the position with the effect that's there to get it done. And basically this needs to get done before it gets super saturated because the walls are already falling down. So we're past the point of doing a bid, and that's why it's in the emergency stage. But we would bid out any of the engineering work that needed to be done. So we opened it up to other professional firms besides CPJ. And then the second I offered, sent out an email, and council president came out to the site. And I know Councilmember Little planned to, but I think there were some things that came up in between, but I think it was 2 invites that went out to tour the actual location. So we can do it again, to tour it again in the next 2 weeks if people want to come see it again. Of course, make myself available on whatever schedule they have, they need.
All right, can you explain to
Thank you,
me,
Mr. O'Connor. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Councilmember Kennedy.
where is this at again?
So this is basically in the area of Tecumseh and Onondaga, dead end on Blackhawk and Woodland, in the upper areas where the water flows down onto Cree Drive. So it's affecting the stormwater management from the water that's pushing down on the homes that are on Cree Drive.
So you're talking about when you go up Woodland, or if you go up to Compson, you're talking about Blackhawk to the left. So the water that cascades off of that goes down into that huge, I guess, valley or dip. So that's affecting the houses down on Cree.
Yeah, it's affecting the houses down on Cree. And then when you get closer to down near Onondaga, that particular area is causing the stormwater runoff down that hill, which is also causing all the soil to shift and forcing the walls to retaining walls on the citizens' homes to push out and almost fall over.
Okay, so is this going to be, where's the funding coming from for this?
Department of Housing and Community Development.
And how much are they putting toward this?
It's 100% of the project cost, $191,414.
Okay. And what type of assurance do we have that what they plan on doing is actually going to resolve the issue?
Well, it's only going to help the issue. It's not going to resolve the issue. There's a more comprehensive issue that needs to be undertaken, which would be the second part of this, which an engineering firm would need to be brought in and actually work with the town to get engineering study done so the town could work hand in hand with the residents to find grant funding either through Prince George's County Emergency Management or federal emergency management to help take care of the retaining walls. This will help the stormwater runoff that's currently cascading down and supersaturating the soil because the drain pans aren't catching anything. And also the fact that previously it was over paved and it was not, well, it wasn't appropriately paved. So the pavement is going over the curb and gutter. So there's no channeling for the water as well. So in both locations, and then at Tecumseh, the water is gaining momentum down the hill, has eroded away the curb, and it's pushing up over any stormwater management that's there. So then that's pushing over into a vacant lot, which is actually adjacent to 109 Cree, which is causing the trees to shift and fall. So this will help resolve some of the issue. It won't solve it. We're going to have to engage an engineering firm to help further that. And the previous stormwater plans were reviewed. However, they are severely outdated and not of use anymore.
So is part of the, I guess, what's expected to be done is to fix the curbage?
Yes, the curb, the gutter, the roadways, the drainage system, and link it back into the WSSC drainage system. And slow the water down that's coming down the hill as well. That's causing a lot of the erosion.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. I'm going to go to Council President McDonald.
I just want to comment on the, just from observation, the powerful, I guess, strength that water has in the erosion, that you can obviously see, on the street and, near the homes where it's taking place. So I thought that was pretty interesting, just from just going out, and just observing it myself. I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Hines, did you have something?
Is this we went to with Senator Muse and we went to some houses on Cree and we went in their backyard. Is this what we're talking about?
No, this is a different situation. This is actually, if you come down to Kumsa and you get to the dead end, where it turns to the right and then becomes Onondaga as you go further down, it's right in that area before you get to the curve.
Okay, so
There's a guardrail there, and then beyond that, there's a steep slope that goes directly to the backyards of the houses on Cree.
okay.
After you come down the bend on Cree.
Okay, well, I would just like to, say my availability, Mr. O'Connor. Can we, when you let me know the next date, I'd like to be there.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hines. Any other questions or comments on Resolution 63-24? Councilmember Noble?
They know the town, but at the same time, we're not in that business, right? It's okay for our personal homes to keep using the same, but we have to, ethically, we need to bid it out. If it comes back, it's the same person, that's one thing, but at the same time, we still have to go through the motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. And I do believe that, it was the majority of the council's desire to see that happen. We obviously want to respond to an emerging issue, but while doing so, we want to make sure that we give a chance to other firms to bid on the project for that reason. Councilmember Kennedy, did you have something else to add?
Just out of curiosity, what makes it an emergency now if this has been happening for years?
So the fact it wasn't addressed for years is one of the issues. And two, code enforcement went out there and found the walls falling over. So the last view that we had, we went down there, we walked the property, and the walls were not falling down. And that was just a short few months ago. But then code enforcement happened to go out for a totally unrelated issue, and the walls had moved significantly with a solid lean, which shows that the soil is actually pushing down. So the possibility does exist that if this work isn't done sooner than later, that the soil will shift, push, the trees will fall, and then it'll push into somebody's home. That's why the retaining walls are pushing forward. So that's where the emergent issue becomes. It definitely should have been handled a long time ago. I don't think this full council or staff were here at the time. So Either way, it definitely needs to be addressed.
Okay, what's the status since it was brought up about the water running underneath 210 and eroding the land behind the upper houses on Cree?
So the drainage, State Highway came out and fixed the drainage out there and it's pushing into the appropriate drains. However, when State Highway fixed that, it caused another issue with stormwater management erosion, which is the water that's now pushing out onto Sachem, which is running into the corner of Sachem and now I'm gonna Delaware, thank you. And it's eroding the backyard of the resident at Delaware. So it's a push-pull. Now, the bigger project on Cree for the residents at the top end, that's a multi-million-dollar project that we're gonna have to seek funding for from FEMA and from Prince George's Homeland and Emergency Management to try and fix.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Noble, did you have something else, or was that?
I'm back to this mudslide. The walls, I guess, behind the homes. And I'm thinking about the one that was, I don't know if it was foreclosed or whatever, but I mean, it was just never maintained regardless. So that's what I'm trying to understand, because our wall did collapse, but then we built another wall.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to understand. Is that the responsibility of the town?
So-
Preventative measures, yes, but then things have to be maintained as homeowners also.
So we're not fixing anything for the homeowners. What we're doing is fixing our portion of the stormwater management system. That'll help alleviate some of the issues that's there. And that's why it's on the homeowner to try and fix those particular areas, and we would pursue or help try and get the grant information to them.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Councilmember Hines.
So with that being said, are you in contact with the homeowners? Just letting them know what's getting ready to happen?
Not on this particular portion of the project, not yet. No, because I didn't want to have a conversation with them because it sets expectations. I didn't want to say the town's looking to do this particular set of work and then it not actually happen. Now, we have spoken to code enforcement has spoken to the homeowners at those locations, and they are aware that the walls are falling. But I didn't want to try and give them a solution that wasn't approved by council yet. So we did that once and it set an unrealistic expectation.
Thank you, Councilmember Hines. All right, at this time, if there are no further questions, we'll move to the next item on the agenda. And we'll recommend the last item to be, we'll have conversation, have council members visit the location who haven't had a chance to and gain some more insight. We'll try to have a more solidified plan when we come back to the next meeting on September the 18th. Next, we have Resolution 64-24. This is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to approve the full-time employment and appointment of Jasmine Payne as an administrative assistant with collateral duties as town clerk, as assistant town clerk. My apologies. I move that we adopt Resolution 64-24.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 64-24. Discussion. Before you comment, Councilmember, Mr. O'Connor, could you give a brief overview?
Sure. So Ms. Payne was formerly a full-time employee with the town. She left and came back when there were some staff changes, went through the interview process and came on as part-time. Since that point, she's been serving in the position of administrative assistant. And since the clerk's vacancy, she has also been assisting me in some of the duties of the clerk. Since I'm also kind of in between doing that. In order to ensure we're never in this situation again, Miss Payne is learning all the duties of the clerk. She is learning board docs. She's getting her notary and various other things. This way, there's some redundancy. The clerk comes, the clerk leaves. There's somebody to fill in, and it's not left to the town administrator or anybody else. There's no official designation as the clerk. I equate this to when Mr. Green was here and we had the collateral duties assigned to him as a dog catcher or animal control, not dog catcher. Dog catcher. So that's what this is. It just says that, you know, she is the backup for the clerk and when necessary. So this also falls in line if, you know, the clerk is sick or can't make it to a meeting or any of the other meetings, we have somebody that immediately goes to fill in that right away. Unfortunately tonight, she wasn't feeling well and she had to go. So.
All right. Well, thank you,
There's
Mr.
a very
O'Connor.
particular reason for that.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor, for the overview. And I would just add that the collateral duties was at the request or because of council requesting that we have someone who can help learn and fill in for some of the duties until we fill the clerk vacancy full time. Without going too much further into that, Mr. O'Connor's presented a plan to review applicants for the role. And it does incorporate a component where council will have a chance to interview a potential clerk as part of the process. All right, with that being said, are there any other questions related to Resolution 64-24?
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Okay, so I understand the desire to cross train, so we don't have another situation like we've been in. Who else is being trained at this current moment?
Was that for me or Mr. O'Connor?
Whoever can answer, because isn't she about to go out?
So I would request that we don't discuss that particular any further,
That's
but
fine. That's fine. But my question is, who's the backup for the backup?
Mr. O'Connor.
So the backup for the backup in those situations is the town administrator. You know, that's just how it would work itself out. In this particular circumstance, the clerk the new full-time clerk would hopefully be on board based on timing related to those personnel issues. And then we shouldn't have an issue. But either way, as in the case now, if all else fails in that, you have whoever the town administrator is at that point in time to go ahead and fill in and record the votes like I'm doing right now.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Councilmember Noble.
I have a question about the clerk position because I noticed in one municipality, Prince George's municipality, their clerk position is part-time. They come to the meetings, they take the minutes. It's not because we've been, I guess, fortunate that we have had clerks of all trades, right? But their function was strictly the clerk duties, no more, no less. So I guess on a financial side do we look at alternatives to the clerk position?
So I think that's a part of the bigger conversation, but what I will say is having done the work, the basic outline of what a clerk's required to do, with minimal assistance just because of the other duties, that a desk audit or a time audit that would reveal that a full-time position may not be warranted, a full 40 hours, right? But that also depends on what other duties may be assigned. You know, with new technology such as board docs and everything else that's there, it's made it extremely easy to create the agenda. A lot of things carry right over, the meeting minutes carry over. So there's a lot of things that make things a lot easier. With all the records soon to be up to date, there's no catch up that'll be done. You know, there's always room for more administrative help, but I think that's a part of a bigger conversation, and we're in the middle of the job search right now is advertised as full-time. So it's always something to consider in the future if there is more staff turnover.
And I suggest that too, because you have retired clerks that may want just part-time work, but they're already experienced. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Mr. Best, you have something to add, sir?
I just wanted to add, your clerk.
Is your microphone on?
Charter.
Just for those at home?
Your clerk is perhaps a little unique in that, by law, your clerk is staff to the Ethics Commission and staff to the Election Board. So a little more robust duties for your clerk than some of the municipalities, not all of them.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Is there any further discussion on Resolution 64-24? Hearing none. Mr. Town Administrator, please call the roll. Mr. Interim Town Administrator, please call the roll.
Yeah. Council President McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Brownson.
Councilmember Brownson is not present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not present, vote. Councilmember Kennedy,
Abstain.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Noble, Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
5 yeses, 1 abstention, 1 not present, motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Next, we'll move to Resolution 65-24. This is a resolution to approve an agreement or memorandum of understanding between the Washington Area Bicyclists Association Incorporated, or WABA, and the town of Forest Heights to provide youth opportunities to learn to ride bicycle classes in partnership with Forest Heights. I will entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 65-24.
Second.
Well, Council President, do you want to make the main motion to adopt as it's your resolution?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 65-24. A resolution to approve an agreement or memorandum of understanding between the Washington Area Bicyclists Association and the town of Forest Heights to provide youth opportunities to learn to ride bicycle classes in partnership with Forest Heights Elementary School.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 65-24. Discussion. And if we could get an overview from combination of Mr. O'Connor or Council President, would you like to give an overview?
Yes, very quickly. So we have 2 sessions that will be hosted by WABA and Forest Heights Elementary School. There was an Eventbrite invitation that went out to have individuals, students, of course, to sign up and register. Mr. Holland, of course, is the administrator for this project. And so we're looking forward to it, not just these 2 opportunities, but this is a foundation for us to continue in our efforts with WABA and to also see how we can build a stronger relationship with WABA, to partner with them, to take advantage of some of the opportunities that they have as far as road safety and things of that nature.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Is there any discussion, further discussion on Resolution 65-24?
Very
Yes.
quickly, sorry, Council Member Kennedy, just wanted to say that the first session is going to be this Saturday, the September the 7th. And it's going to be, of course, over on the grounds of Forest Heights Elementary. And I want to give the sorry, the time for it. So it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then the next session will be on September the 14th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Kennedy.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, what does the town have to provide?
Doesn't have to provide anything, Councilmember Kennedy. We will, however, let it be known in terms of our being relieved of any liability. That's the only thing.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Council President McDonald. Is there any further discussion from Council on Resolution 65-24? All right, hearing none, please call the roll.
Council President McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Little. Yes. Councilmember Brownson. Councilmember Brownson.
Absent.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mayor.
O'Connor.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilmember Hines.
Yes.
Councilmember Noble. Mayor Lilly.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 not present. Motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes legislation for this evening. Next, we'll have council member and mayor reports, which I'm expecting to be brief. We'll begin with Ward 1, Council President McDonald.
Good evening, everyone. A couple things, well, actually a few things. So again, we're having our Learn to Ride on this coming Saturday. First ride is this Saturday. We have submitted our application for certification for sustainable communities. We got feedback from Mike and from Liv, and we've provided some additional information that was required of us. And so Mr. O'Connor has done a wonderful job with pulling together the information, as well as Jasmine, and I think also the Department of, not the police department, pulling together pictures and things of that nature. So I wanted to thank them for that. And then as we move forward with getting certified, hopefully we have enough substance, if you will, to become certified at the bronze level. If not, we know for sure that we will be on the stage this year as a sustainable community, Forest Heights as a sustainable community at the MML Fall Conference. So I'm looking forward to that. We have gotten through, we're waiting to get through the second level of reviews. And so hopefully if we get through the second level of reviews, we will go before the full council, who actually, decides whether we get the silver or the bronze. But after that, it's more work to be done, where the town has to establish this full-fledged green team. And so that's something that I will be leading. And some of the individuals who are a part of the community garden are also on board. Some of our council members are willing to support as well. So thank you for that. And that's going to help us to stay current, and so that we can continue to take advantage of any opportunities that are available for being a sustainable community. The community garden has 2 grants in the pipeline. Not sure of where we are with them right now, but I know that we have 2 grants in the pipeline for the community garden. Want to thank everybody who has been supporting, especially all of the council members, Brownson and Noble and Little and Mayor Lilly, and we've had, this has also been an opportunity for us to engage our community and our residents. And so I want to say that very quickly. Let's see, I met with the WABA had hosted an event down in Fort Washington. And it was a wonderful opportunity to meet with some people in the community down there in Fort Washington. Seth Grimes was the person who I went instead for Mayor Lilly. And they talked a lot of things about road safety and signage and things of that nature in terms of people walking and riding and, you know, trying to become a more, again, sustainable community where people have options to move around. So I think that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President McDonald, for your comprehensive updates. Next, we'll go to Councilmember Little from Ward 1.
I just want to tell everyone thank you. Well, good evening first. But I would like to tell all the departments, DPW and Public Works, thank you for everything going on in the community. I'm seeing the strides that we are making towards moving forward and liking the new changes that we're making and look forward to seeing more.
Thank you, Councilmember Little. Next, we'll go to Ward 2. Councilmember Kennedy.
Well, I don't know if John, if the acting town administrator would like to talk about the potentially upcoming events, so that way we can put it on the table.
Well, we had some discussion, both he and I and some council members and I today, and let's put it in new business. Do we have new business tonight? We don't have new business. Okay. Well, let me just say this. Mr. O'Connor and I talked, and I also talked to a couple council members, and it looks like we have a desire to see some events that have happened continuously happen. The Harvest Day events, and then the haunted house and the trunk or treat. In our discussion, we realized that there is some complication. There's potential to split the events, potentially, but there's some complication with doing so. So with that being said, I'll open it up to Mr. O'Connor and Mr. Councilmember Kennedy just for us to briefly talk through those two items.
So we have, I guess, the easiest one to start on would be the Harvest Day trunk or treat and the haunted house. So this year, the police department was going to do their trunk or treat on Thursday, which would have been ideal as well for a haunted house to do the trunk or treat, but would leave out Harvest Fest. So I did speak after I spoke with Councilmember Hines. I was able to talk to Chief Reese, and it doesn't look like it would be an issue to move trunk or treat to the 26th in order to facilitate a Harvest Festival, trunk or treat, and the haunted house, because the haunted house would start later. So Councilmember Kennedy would likely be able to be there, I believe.
Let's confirm, Councilmember Kennedy, if the haunted house happens at any time on Saturday, are you able to come, or is that going to be off the table? Because I believe you told me. I believe you told me anything else. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard about this, and yeah, normally Saturdays are tricky for me because I don't know how long I'll be at work. So
yeah, what we're trying to do is find a happy medium, and this year, because these were not planned in advance, it's becoming difficult to get them all in the same day. I really think it has to do a lot with the fact that Halloween's really on a Thursday, whereas it traditionally in the last few years, I don't believe it's been during the week, or we've celebrated it early. So, we would have a low turnout for Harvest Fest if we did that on a weekday. So the only way to do it would be to split the events. Or unfortunately, if we did everything on a Saturday, Councilmember Kennedy for the haunted house, who's a big part of the haunted house, might not be able to be there. you know, if the haunted house starts at 8 or, you know,
Well,
8:30.
I would have to talk to Ms. Lawson and Ms. Cooney, who, of course, without them the last couple of years, there wouldn't have been a haunted house also. You know,
Right.
also, you know, Councilwoman Hines, her family helped whoever possible. But we can talk about it because I know at first, you were also thinking about doing a small Forest Heights Day since that got taken off the table. And I know we originally were thinking we can possibly do the Forest Heights Day and the Harvest Festival at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't get to that section yet. So I had to go back, look at the minutes, and the resolution was tabled, so it wasn't voted down. So other council members had requested to possibly do Forest Heights Day. So we started having those conversations about being able to facilitate Forest Heights Day. So there was some interest in doing it, even though there was a consensus that, you know, it wasn't going to move forward. So I think there was still some conversation there, but no official action. You know, it is possible to combine the two and do that as well. But it really comes down to what everybody wants, what the board wants. Staff just needs proper direction.
True. I mean, it does work out best in history that all three of them work in perfect unison with each other. So, I mean, if the rest of the folks want to do it on, you said the 26th?
The 26th would be the easiest day. It's before Halloween. It's a Saturday. It works better for DPW and setup. You know, I think the 26th is a prime day to do it.
All right, well, tell you what, let me talk to like I said, Ms. Lawson, Ms. Cooney, and then I'll get back in touch with you and the mayor, and then y'all can I guess shoot out an email if that's the case. But I don't want to confirm anything without talking to, you know, two of the main people that are going to be, you know, putting in the work with me.
And I think the last lingering question, Mayor, is after all the conversations, there's some will to have Forest Heights Day. Apparently, there's residents asking if we're going to have a smaller celebration for Forest Heights Day, but I think we just need from the body politic staff just needs direction as to whether or not that's going to be something that's on the table or we're just going to move forward with the harvest portion.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go around now. Do we want to have a combined Forest Heights Day with Harvest Day? Do we want to brand it the name the same and take care of both events on the same day? And I will start with Councilmember Hines. Okay, Councilmember Little.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what she said. I'm sorry.
Let me cut my mic on. That would be a no.
Councilmember Little.
I would like to see what that would look like. So possibly.
Councilmember Noble, my apologies.
I'm torn about this because we changed Forest Heights Day last year from August to September because it was so hot in August. Now, see, I'm flexible. Now I say, we know August is gonna be hot anyway, so we should have stuck with August. So to combine, to me, you can't combine Harvest Day with Forest Heights Day. It's one or the other, to me.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Council President McDonald.
I think given the fact that we decided first that we weren't going to do it at all because of the, I guess the scale down of it, like it would just, you know, be bare minimum. So we said, no, we wouldn't do it. So now, because we feel that there are residents who have inquired and want to have it, trying to come up with something that would be sufficient. So in my creative mind, I think it should just be something called a Forest Heights Harvest. That's what I say. And we can still have all of the stuff that the Harvest does over at the municipal building like we did last year. And whatever we can do or want to do over at the community gathering space and do our thing over there with what we do. So that's just my thought on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one moment, Mr. O'Connor. Councilmember Kennedy was the last one.
Well, I've seen Forest Heights Day on a shoestring budget, so it's not about. I know people were saying we had the gala, but the gala is the gala. That's like saying, okay, well, you celebrated your 75th birthday this year, but that's all I'm getting you. Even if we do a small scale, we can grill like we used to, can still do popcorn, snow cone, whether DJ or something. We can do laser tag. We don't have to spend a huge amount of money, but I think we can still do it even on a decent amount. So, whichever way we're leaning toward, I think we can make it happen. If we want to do all three of them on the same day, that Saturday or even Sunday, I'm fine with that. But I still think we should at least have something, because Forest Heights Day has been a tradition for Lord knows how long.
Okay. Well, we will have the pertinent conversations back and forth, and we will nail this down and get communication out.
What could we do the Forest Heights Day on that Sunday? Is that what? Oh, church. Yeah. No, that doesn't work. Oh, yeah. That. Okay. No, that is. Yep. All right. And the other thing is related to the funding. If we do a budget amendment, there is funding that is available from significant cost savings that staff and I have found. So that is something to keep in mind that could be done if necessary.
All right. Thank you all the council who weighed in. We will continue to communicate and decide a way forward, whether it's Harvest Day or a component of Forest Heights Day. Doesn't sound like we got a consensus on that being the case. So it looks like we'll continue forward with at least Harvest Day and find out when we're going to do the trunk or treat and the haunted house. But we'll communicate a final decision. All right. Next, we'll go to Ward 3, Councilmember Hines.
Okay, good evening again. I would first like to say Forest Heights and all of the schools went back on, what is it, August 26th. Thank you. And myself and Councilwoman Brownson was at Forest Heights to send the kids off, and the principal and the assistant principal send hellos to us. And it was a real nice turnout. So we didn't get a chance to go to Flintstone. But yeah, that was a success. So they looked really happy to go back. Really, they did. Okay, and I wanted to say thank you to the police department again for the summer camp, because it was a success. It was really nice. We got our T-shirts. To all the people that, were a part of it, I just want to thank you. And I saw the picture on the newsletter. It was nice, but it didn't speak up on that it was the camp kids. I didn't see that. But thank you. Also, yeah, I did want to talk about the harvest, but I wanted to know if anyone wanted to take it from me. I enjoyed doing it I've been on council for 8 years. And so I've been a part of some part of the harvest, but now it's time for me, I think, to relinquish and pass the torch. So if any of my comrades would like to take it, you guys can have it.
Well, if you are in touch with people in the community who want to volunteer, both for Harvest Day, for the haunted house, for a trunk or treat, we would really love if you can spread the word to folks And this is to people watching that we want to invite folks in to help us with volunteering and getting exposed to it. So the next group of folks can come in and help carry on the vision the way it's been done with love and inviting the community out. So if you can help us with that, that would be much appreciated.
No, I will help you be more hands-on.
We need a comprehensive swan song. If you are gonna pass the torch, help us out this year, and then we'll have official word that next year maybe you'll watch more from the sidelines. We'd appreciate it. The residents would appreciate it. All right. Anything else, Councilmember Hines? Okay. We'll move on to Councilmember Noble, Ward 3.
I have a long list, but this is gonna be quick because I'm not gonna go through the whole list. General, I want to just say congratulations to all of the graduates. I think we kind of missed that. From elementary to high school to college. And next year, we want to make sure those high school students and college students get some scholarship money from the delegates and the senator. Also, talking to different residents, I have something from each street, but there's a noise issue with the residents on Rolfe Drive. So we need to address that some kind of way. I don't know if the noise level is usually on the weekend. So, and then I brought this up before at South Huron and North Huron. If you're coming down Seneca, South Huron is to the left, North Huron is to the right, but the sign is just on the right side, south and north, but it goes this way. I guess if you have emergency, they know where to go, but that, to me, it should be a sign on that side, it should be a sign on that side, right? And also on Woodland, the residents are getting a lot of parking notices, so to move their vehicles. So their concern is with the out-of-state tags. So we go back to the out-of-state tags. And I did write a letter to the governor about out-of-state tags, so we could talk about that. I think that's all I'm going to share today, and I'm gonna hold this report for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Thanks for all the updates. I'll just add one more item. On Friday, September the 6th, Oxon Hill High School and Potomac High School are having a community bowl football game that happens every year at the beginning of the year. They play each other, and we got students to go to both schools. So we've been in communication with Potomac High School. The game will happen at Potomac High School on Friday, September 6th, starting at 6:30. And they'll be honoring a hometown hero who participated in the Olympics from the area. His name is, let me get this right. His name is Jamal Harvey. So he's an Olympian from Oxon Hill. He's a boxer. Jamal Harvey will be honored. Council and community are invited to come to the community bowl. We're planning to have a Forest Heights table outside so we can capture some of our youth and their families and make sure they're involved, and we spread the word about what's going on in Forest Heights, our youth department, and then also get information so we can keep people tapped in. We're also told that there's supposed to be an opportunity for our youth ambassador to speak, since he's on the football team and goes to Oxon Hill, to rep Forest Heights and to help spread the word. So please come out if you can. We're going to try to use this event to connect with the community and then also to spread the word about Forest Heights and all the great things that we're doing here, and connect them to scholarship opportunities and other. Youth is a very big component of what we're doing in Forest Heights, so it's a great opportunity. Hope we can do this every year and reach out, listen, and connect with the community. So again, Friday, September 6th, 6:30, which means you should probably get there at 6, because this game fills up pretty quick. Get there at 5. Would love to see council come out as well, work the table, or just to talk to folks and enjoy. I think we've covered everything else as far as updates. We'll have another meeting before the end of the month is over. And so with that, I just want to say that is our pleasure to serve the community. It's our pleasure to serve as a council, moving sites forward. And the time is now 10:20
Now,
in this
Lily,
meeting.
I wanted to
Council
make a
President.
point. 5914 Ottawa, can we keep that on the radar? Because that's something that Chief Reese said that we need to reopen. So I wanted to make a point of that. Also, the graduation.
We'll
is
have a
on
meeting before we get to the graduation. Yeah, I saw that. We'll be back on the 18th before the 22nd.
Okay, and then the last thing is the bike trail groundbreaking. I knew that it was on the radar, but I don't know where it is now. Have you heard any updates about it?
No, it's going to be scheduled a little sooner. We'll hear from Michael Donato with National Park Service probably this week or next week,
Okay,
just to make sure it's still in progress. And then
yeah,
once that's solidified, then we can look at when we'll schedule the date.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Now with that, the time is now 10:21 and this meeting is adjourned. Good night.
Good night, be safe.
Thank you. Good night.